This is the juice. On the back, you see that pyramid with the apex represents a nation that rises out of a nation. It's an apex, a complete pyramid of its own. It sheds so much light on the nation that it established it, that it cast that shadow. On the other side, we see an eagle. The eagle could have been a turkey, but they chose an eagle. And it's wonderful because my son's out there right now. We actually saw a bald-headed eagle no closer than that back room there with a fish in his talons just the other day, and I was talking to him about it. The eagle represents America. It's the president's seal. It's the government's seal. Why is the eagle holding a shield in front of its heart? Why is there 13 stripes there, going which way? Up and down, before them, behind them, left and the right. Why isn't the eagle, I mean, if you threw something at me, a projectile of anything, I would protect my head because that's where my brains are. But the eagle is protecting his chest. And we know that shield, that's what it's for, to protect it. In each of the talons of the eagle, there's 13. One side is peace leaves, the other side's spears. So as you know, one means war, one means peace. The eagle is also known to be a bird of prey. It doesn't just kill for food. It kills for power and domain. Why does the eagle have just one eye showing? Good questions to be asking. Why has he got a scroll in his mouth? What does that scroll mean? E pluribus unum. And what would happen if the eagle opened his mouth? We need to know what these things mean. And I'm trying my best to let you know that it means we don't know too much about money. We do not know too much about symbolism either. In fact, symbolic logic and deductive reason tells us that we're not doing something right. 23.3 million fathers in America have nothing to do with their children's lives. Where's the mothers? Well, plenty of them are on welfare. They get these. They get Section 8. They get food stamps. They're taken care of. But when welfare was established, they said, get the guy out. Now we have a bunch of thugs, drug dealers, convicts, in prison, out of prison, violent, misbehaving children, raised by the state. They don't understand money either. They don't understand family. They've lost knowledge of themselves. They've lost knowledge of themselves, and they're living a beast life. And those who have the secrets, those keepers of the secret, like Malcolm had said, Plymouth Rock didn't land. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. When Eddie asked me, did I know about these 4 graves out in Plymouth, I says, I'd be glad to go check that out. I would love to put a picture of that on the website. I've never felt so spiritually moved when I moved. Where we parked, Eddie? He says, right there. There's graves. I looked. We were in the wilderness. There's nothing there. It's on the side of a road. He says, no, a little deeper. We went in the woods, and there it was. 4 little pieces of stone. It looked like somebody had just cleared it out a little recently, and had a little fence around it of 2x4, freshly painted, freshly cut brush. Evidently, there was a lot of brush there before we got there. And I could see, or I should say, I could sense something spiritual going on while we were there. I felt as though a haunting was taking place, because now all the things that were interesting to me and all the things that I was working on in my life couldn't even come close to what we had discovered. And when we realized that this was a link for all African American people, all Capeverdean people, people of American descent, have to read this history. Because what it says is that somewhere along the line, the Pilgrims weren't telling the truth.
As we found the same writing on stones in certain countries like Ecuador, Colombia, Illinois, United States, Clausel, France, Malta in the Mediterranean, Turkmenistan, Australia, and in southern Calabria, Italy, just a few years ago. Always there are stones. This, we think, is a medical instrument. It is also lyddite, and it's a perfect form. Another one, and these are other ones. They are very much smaller than shown on this photo. And when we did a material check in Vienna, the most expert worldwide checked those pieces. First of all, the material. Each one is done with lyddite, and the form itself. He checked them, and finally he said, I cannot tell you how they were done, who did they make, but the only thing I can definitely tell you, from the same material in our days, we cannot make the same instruments. How old they are, we do not know, but as they were found in Colombia and they do not fit any existing pre-Columbian culture, we must consider that those artifacts are at least older than 6,000 years. But we cannot explain what kind of technology they did use to be able to make such instruments and such tools made with lyddite. You can see each piece fits exactly every kind of hand, never mind how big the size of the hand was. Each instrument, each tool fits exactly each hand which was using those instruments. This face looks a little bit like the Maui, the big stone statues from Easter Island. Here you have a close-up. This, in joking, I call it the dentist chair. Perfectly done, but again, same material, lyddite. And the strange question is, why, if they could make such perfect figurines out of this very difficult material, why did they show the human face always with big round eyes and a little nose and a big mouth? There is no real explanation possible. This is again one piece from Colombia, lyddite. On the front side you see the mother holding the baby, and on the back side you see the man with armors, most probably for hunting. This stone figurine was found in Colombia. It looks exactly like the Maui statues from Easter Islands, but it is only about 30 centimeters in size. This is another masterpiece of stonework. You have on both sides presented one bird, but if you look at the front side, you can see that the two birds presenting a face, and on the left side, between the bird's head and the wings, you see again this unknown writing which we found on stones from all over the world. This is the mother holding a child, very strange face, and it's a kind of jade material. This is another stone from Colombia showing an armadillo. On top of the armadillo you can see a strange face with long ear and two horns on top. On this artifact you can see a smiling face on top. You have two triangles on this side, and on the other side, on the right side, you have a face. Again, the animal face on the right side, and some unknown symbols. And on the bottom of this object you see an animal, looks like a crocodile. Now we are moving to Guinea, West Africa, very close to the border with Mali. They found on a huge granite mountain, but then again we are at the point 10 to 12,000 years ago. It might be the civilization, the lost civilization from Atlantis.
In our research in Africa, the Far East, and in the mountains of South America, we have come across statuary of very grotesque beings who, according to the Indian and shamanistic tradition, went into the earth at a time of a great cataclysm. If we take Atlantis as a model for survival, it is clear in the folklore and literature of the major continents of our planet that some of the races went into the earth. I brought with me from Africa pictures of these grotesque serpent-like beings. Many of them correspond to the extraterrestrial reports and photographs of some of these so-called snake people or serpent people. It is very clear also that there was the survival of the ancestry of the Adamic race, referred to in our scriptures, as well as in the teachings of the Hungarian and German people that came out of the Gobi area. It is in this area of Lap Nor that we have recently found evidences of an earlier European type humanity that did survive some type of cataclysm according to the myths of the Far East. We have thus in our tradition a vast folklore, anthropology, and cosmology that connect the peoples of this planet with that of other worlds.
The Nazis were better informed by the secret esoteric orders and had exact knowledge about the lost cities of Agartha and Shambhala. Many of their expeditions involved searching for the entrances into the inner world and the lost techniques of the gods, that is, UFOs, the Ark of the Covenant, and much more. Thus, films like Indiana Jones are not mere fiction. German expedition in search of Agartha. Some esoteric correlations of the 19th century and of the Third Reich are hidden nowadays under a veil of the past. Thus, only some isolated relationships can be uncovered. For a while, Dietrich Eckart lived at the foot of the mountain Untersberg and was initiated into the medieval mysteries and into the legends of caves. Adolf Hitler spent many hours with Dietrich Eckart at the Obersalzberg mountain, and both were followers of the hollow earth theory of Hans Erbinger. The Untersberg was already considered by the Templars to be a volcano with an access to the inner earth and to the legendary hollow world. Thus there are stories of the disappearances of people in the Untersberg and how, 60 years later, the same people surfaced without having aged. Other German legends deal with the myth of the end of the world. In the legends, King Barbarossa is asleep in the mountain, and after hundreds of years he rises up with his knights for the last battle at the end of time, in order to help good triumph.
Close to this area in Sierra Leone, Professor Pitoni was in charge of